Hello, this is Chris Bratt from Eurogamer, joined by a couple of people from the Overwatch team. We've got Tim Ford, you're the lead gameplay programmer, is that right? And Sky Chandler, you're the producer on the game.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit, I guess, about Sombra to begin with.
Sure.
Yeah, you finally, after quite a lot of teasing, have unveiled Sombra. She's fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
Do you guys think you maybe went just a little bit early with the ARG in retrospect? Maybe.
Well, I think the initial one, like putting it on the tail end of Anna's, you know, was cool. We learned a lot about pacing,
Right. Sure.
and kind of how to better reveal pieces.
Yeah,
maybe
okay.
in the future. I think overall it was like as a whole it was well received, and you can speak to
I think the ARG is really cool when you think about what the payoff is.
Yeah, absolutely.
The payoff is this really cool, badass Mexican hacker chick.
Yeah.
So if you want to like engross yourself in the mind of this person, how manipulative she is, that all really. I personally was very satisfied when we actually had the real launch. You can see who she is, not just the look, but how she acts with her teammates in quotes, and how she manipulates everybody to stay in control and keep on top of the information. So I think, despite changes in pacing to the ARG, I hope fans felt it was incredibly satisfying to get her as the payoff.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, did you maybe expect players wouldn't figure it out so quickly? I remember writing it up like after they had it, and there was a lot to that process. Like it was complicated, but I guess never underestimate Blizzard fans.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Never underestimate the internet. There was some really complex puzzles.
Yeah, the bit with the heartbeat that was actually Morse code and okay.
My favorite part about it was the stuff that we didn't do, like the sky song, and like the ring effect that someone had discovered in the sky of Dorado, because like Aaron Keller or Jeff Kaplan during an interview when asked about the ARG said it's over my head, which they said casually, but the fans interpreted it as a clue.
I remember after a developer diary in the midst of the ARG, like people were seriously looking at how often he was blinking.
I was going to just say that one. They were trying to decode his blinks, and I was like, if we could get him to do that, that would be so cool.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Jeff nails those things in one take. It's off the top of his head. I don't know if he could concentrate on blinking SOS.
Fair enough. BlizzCon, first time we've actually been able to see people play the character up close. So as the team kind of. Has that gone as expected? Is there anything you want to tweak after you've seen players messing around with her so far?
It's tricky. I think for her, ability-wise, we're really happy with how she landed. So a lot of it's going to come down to the numbers tweaking.
Yeah, sure.
And that we need PTR. We need a lot broader match-made set of games.
Yeah.
On the BlizzCon floor, I'm sure if you've played it, you're playing with someone who's never played Overwatch before, or someone
and everyone's playing as Sombra as well.
No, you're not getting the most balanced
12
matches.
12
Sombras, yeah.
So just like number balancing rather than like kit changes, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, on top, we have already started between the build that was on the floor and the build that will go into PTR. We have more clarity of effects, those types of things. It's really just more readability about being hacking, more VO hooks. And we'll probably keep pushing that. We've done that for all of our heroes, where when we realize the players are having a hard time understanding what's happening to them.
So you want, as in the players that are being hacked, they need a more clear indication.
And also like when the moment Sombra lands the hack, having more clarity around that moment. We're always iterating on that type of stuff. And it becomes particularly relevant. Anna's a good example. When we introduce a new mechanic, like when we introduced Anna, she had the ability to suspend healing for a person or give a healing multiplier for a person.
Sure.
So we had to add new layers to the UI and a new kind of visual language for what the rules meant. Yeah, exactly. Purple means you can't be healed. So we just had to make that up in order to lend clarity to those types of interactions. Sombra's no different. Right? Yeah. So we'll keep pushing that even past, by the time we ship her, I'm sure we'll keep pushing it.
Cool. You're talking about new mechanics here. This is the first character that's had a true stealth ability.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that's because it's really bloody difficult to make that work in a fast-paced, highly competitive game in the first place?
You're very correct in that.
I heard a rumor that Genji at one point the team were thinking about a kind of a stealth kit with him, but it's tricky.
So with Sombra as a whole, long ago she was a character named Omniblade that they had been trying, and she was dagger throwing, and she had a sonar dagger, and she was very agile. And then Hanzo really needed that sonar arrow.
Right, okay.
And then Genji came out, and he had this stealth backstab, like one-shot death blow thing. That
really fun to use, not fun to receive.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to be Genji. Nobody wanted to play against Genji. And so basically, the Shimada brothers stole all her stuff.
Nice.
And so Sombra was kind of left alone with her invisibility. And once we really focused on development, that became like a part of the evolution of, you know, full invis versus partial invis versus, you know, durations, no durations. And the biggest factor with stealth was it can be really frustrating to be attacked by.
Right.
So that was where a lot of the tuning came in of you still want to have fun playing even if that stealth player is hunting you.
Right, sure. Without, I guess, getting too bogged down in the details because I won't be able to understand them, but I've spoken to the WoW team before about when they introduced stealth way back when, and like they had a big issue with the fact that if a player manages to hack the game, which is somehow fitting for Sombra. It can be really, it's a difficult thing to make work and know when players aren't playing fairly.
Right.
Is that something you've had experience with Overwatch?
It's one of the parts of Overwatch that we really cannot talk about because we can't talk about the specific solutions that we take to keep those types of hacks, like what you're describing as a client-side hack, from working. Because if we do, then the hackers will figure out how it works and figure out a way to go around.
But it's something you had to bear in mind during the...
Yeah, I'd say part of my role is anti-cheat, and I spend a lot of time and thought on that particular assignment.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Good to hear. Okay, moving on from Sombra to the arcade, which is going to be replacing what was the weekly brawls. In your mind, why didn't the weekly brawls quite work in the end?
I think some brawls work quite well.
I mean, as an overall concept.
Yeah, but I think that was part of the problem, right? Yeah. The fact that they were like Mystery Heroes was super popular, and even the Fair Mercy one was really popular as well. Yeah. So you even saw a pecking order of the non-seasonal brawls.
Yeah, sure.
Right. As soon as you throw summer games or you throw
it's a different set.
Dungeon Signs, that's when you look at the numbers, it's crazy. Yeah. But of the non-seasonal brawls, those were the big popular ones, and then you'd have a huge die-off after that. Oh, arcade was what do we call that? Total Mayhem now. Yeah. What was once called arcade was also really popular.
Right. And a lot of them too, one of the things is people would hop in and play for like the first 2 days, but then nobody went back to the room.
Yeah.
So by adding the arcade and all brawls and other modes, it gives you a reason to like one of the biggest things is, you know, Overwatch games can be a little intense sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
So having that place to just go goof off and be like, I'm going to play 6 Maze or whatever. You can just go have some fun and still play some Overwatch. Or another thing that I think is going to be really cool is like in the future when they're like doing warm-ups for like esports.
Right.
I could just see like 2 super badass esports players, you know, like 1v1ing
each other.
And like that would be so cool.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be fun.
You have a space for that now. That's good. Yeah, but one thing that I remember with the weekly brawls, a complaint that some players had was that you had like reduced XP when you played the brawls compared to other modes.
That's correct.
Is that something that's going to be addressed with the introduction of the arcade?
I think, well, specifically, I mean, the goal with XP, there's levels, but there's loot boxes.
Sure. Yeah.
I think most folks are more excited about the loot boxes when it comes to advancement. So the way we're doing that with the arcade is, as you play the arcade, as you win 3 games, you'll get a loot box. And you can do that 3 times, so you get 3 loot boxes every single week. After the week, it'll reset. And we also have rules for the featured brawls when they show up. If you win your first game in that featured brawl, you'll also get a loot box.
Yeah.
So we're hoping we can balance some of that out. Because the rules, because we invariably change the rules when it comes to the brawls.
Yeah.
We have a reduced EXP in order to.
So you don't accidentally create like a way to farm XP.
Exactly. Yeah, it's weird. Like you have to be really careful from a design standpoint. To make sure that the most fun parts of your game are the most rewarding parts of your game. If you have a dull part of your game that's very rewarding, players will actually do it if they want the rewards.
Okay.
And then they're going to burn out on the game.
Yeah. Sure.
So that's really what those I don't want to say penalties, but those are the reasons we make those trade-offs. Is we want to make sure we're plussing the most fun part of the game.
Yeah.
And for the arcade, the reason we want to like dole out loot boxes at a steady pace per week, we want you to experience all the different parts of the arcade. We don't want you just to settle in on one part that even if it bores you, unlocks a bunch of stuff. That's going to cause bad player behavior, and they're going to get bored with the game artificially.
Absolutely. I guess the reason I asked was because of the quick play is getting the one hero rule. I guess like if you don't like that idea and you want to stick with what is it called, no limits?
No limits.
No limits.
Like would the XP be equivalent? I guess was why I asked. But
yeah, I'm curious to see how the fans feel about that.
Right?
I have a strong suspicion because quick play was in the past like a mix. It was folks who were kind of practicing off heroes before they go into competitive,
or people that just don't like competitive,
or people who don't like competitive. So yeah, there's those two types of players. Then there were players who just wanted to like roll 6 maze and lock you into Ice Ball. You live in the bar now. Sorry. For that style of play, there's no limits for you. And I think no limits is probably really fun because it's going to attract people who really want to stack heroes.
Cool.
So I think it really fits the brawl the kind of bombastic, fun, crazy version of Overwatch.
Sure.
I think one of the other things too is that the arcades is going to allow for a lot of testing of new game modes.
Right.
Like if we had come up with something like Junkenstein and it wasn't somewhere where like we didn't have Halloween incoming.
Sure, but it gave you.
But we wanted to build it out and play it. Like that's where we would have put it.
Cool.
So it'll give us a lot of opportunity to try things that we didn't really have a place to put before.
Sure.
And if people play it and they're like, you know, good.
Yeah.
Let throw that away. Yep. And if they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, we'll be like, okay.
Oh, you like that? All right.
I don't think you're going to tell me about hero release schedules, so we'll skip that one. Okay. So one thing we haven't heard about at BlizzCon, there's been a lot of information, I understand why this hasn't happened, is we're expecting some big Symmetra changes at some point soon. In fact, I think November was the ballpark time period.
When we'll start to pull that out,
can you give any hints as to where the team is at with that, or is that something you're
we can't give any details right now, but we're excited about it.
Cool.
I think the fans are going to be pretty pleased with what direction she's heading in.
Do you still expect it to be something we see this month or this year?
Well,
probably this year, yeah.
The one thing we can definitely say is that they're really working hard to make it so she's more than first point.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Functional.
Sure.
And we're hoping to at least get her to the PTR this year.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So that has been a heavy focus, like recently, and there's been a lot of tuning on it and trying to figure out what feels right. So once that's hammered out, I think she'll be out there.
All right, cool. I think we've used all our time. Thank you so much, guys.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It's good to meet you.
Unauthorized person detected. If you hold the information, you hold all the cards. Hack complete.